This is the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. The 47th president of America is sworn into office. Not everyone's happy about it. There's a lot of female tones to that. I think there's a majority women there. You wouldn't want to grab them by the pussy, would you? No. It's ironic, you see, because good guy Joe Biden, on his way out of the White House, decided, just got to pop one more little document through just before I leave, just to make sure that this is all taken care of. What is it? Oh, just a little thing, just, you know, one of those little cross the T's, dot the I's. I've just got to make sure that my family don't go to jail for all the crime they've done. So I'm pardoning them all preemptively. Oh, well then. Meaning that, like, nothing can be brought against them for what they've been up to in this period of time. And the fact that he is doing that in broad daylight and just is showing everyone, hey, we've been up to no good, and I'm going to make sure no one goes to jail for it, is wild. How is this illegal? And here's the irony. This is something Biden said not long ago.
No one is above the law.
Yeah, unless you're a Biden, in which case you're untouchable. This guy doesn't give a shit. He is spitting in the face of the Americans and telling them it's champagne. And he has the irony. They were saying that Trump was going to do this years ago, which, the classic, they accused the opposition of what they're actually doing. What a surprise. And he claimed he wasn't going to do that.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons.
Yeah, you're not going to see that approach to pardons from the Biden administration. They would never. Here's a graph of all of the pardons made by each president. Bearing in mind, some of these guys served for fucking double the time Joe Biden did, and yet the man has smashed it at the bottom here. With the most pardons in history by more than treble everybody else. But they're not going to do that. They would never. These fuckers are out. Oh my God, they're unbelievable. Even politicians look at them and go, we're evil, but fuck me, they are on another level. Now, pardons, if you don't know how they work, obviously in America, you've got people who are wrongfully imprisoned. Maybe there's a miscarriage of justice there. Maybe they've learned their lesson and you're looking at them thinking that was a harsh sentence, whatever, right? They're an opportunity for the president to make wrongs right and to fix injustices. What they're not supposed to be is a get out of jail free card for everyone in your family. Just so we've got that clear. Although it would be handy to have, wouldn't it? Because then you can just go out and fucking do whatever you want pretty much. And it's so ironic when you look at what they said Donald Trump would do in destroying democracy and the rule of law and pardon his family, pardon his allies. Trump did none of that. Biden was the one who has done that with his allies, including this guy.
To ask for a pardon is because you think you've committed a crime.
Like, I only know of one reason to seek a pardon, because you're worried that you're guilty, that you committed a crime.
Well then, that explains a lot, because this guy has just been preemptively pardoned. Adam Kinzinger looks guilty as fuck by his own words. And he's released a statement as to why he's pardoned his family, etc. Hunter Biden, his kid. He was literally in deep shit. And yet this statement is about, oh, people might come after me, my family, just to get back at me. It's not that they're guilty of anything. It's just that I'm just trying to protect them from a miscarriage of justice. What a load of bollocks. These pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement that they engaged in any wrongdoing, nor should acceptance be misconstrued as an admission of guilt for any offense. He doesn't give a shit. And like, it is almost like, wow. Like, I'm almost impressed by the lack of fucks given by this guy. You can tell he got to that age where, you know, when old men hit a certain age where they don't give a fuck about being polite to anyone anymore. They don't care what anyone thinks. They're just here for themselves. This is Joe Biden's energy. And I don't think dementia helped matters, I've got to be honest. Now, a lot of this stems back to the Hunter Biden laptop story, which was unbelievably covered up. It was done spectacularly well. I've got to give them credit. Basically, Hunter Biden left the laptop at a repair shop, never went to pick it up, the fucking useless idiot, just like his old man. And on that laptop, there was videos of him shagging hookers and doing crack, as you do. But the documents and emails that were found on that laptop were far more juicy than any of that. And the allegation from some, not me, of course, I would never, is that Hunter Biden and his dad were running influence peddling operation. That's the fancy word for it. I did Google this, just to be clear on exactly what that means. The use of position or political influence on someone's behalf in exchange for money or favors, which explains a lot immediately, because the Joe Biden lives like a billionaire, and yet he is a politician for his entire life. I mean, how has that happened? Well, apparently it started back in 2008, 2009, I think, when Vice President Joe Biden was head of like foreign policy, and he was, flying all over the world, meeting very powerful people. Now, he would fly there on political business with his brother and his son, and they would do other business that wasn't anything to do with what the taxpayers were paying him for. And that would allow Hunter Biden, especially because you couldn't have his dad written a name involved in any of this. He was the front guy, where basically he would then do business deals with all of these people, and it would allow the Biden family to use their power to gain wealth. And it's funny because in these emails, they don't name Joe Biden ever, as far as I'm aware. But there's another mysterious individual who's codenamed the big guy, who does appear a lot. I'll let you be the judge of who that might be. I mean, if you're going to think of a code name for your dad, the big guy kind of gives it away. He's not the smartest, is he? It's one step away from just calling him not Joe Biden. And the allegations make it feel a bit mafia. If you think you're a company in Ukraine and you're needing a bit of protection against your own government and a bit of extra influence and power in that situation, hiring the son of the Vice President of America to be on your board of directors immediately gives you a layer of protection and strength. And apparently that's how Hunter Biden would accrue a lot of money, from using his dad's power to put him in these positions. And it's funny when you look into some of the positions Hunter Biden got himself into in some of these companies. For example, an energy company he was very high up in. And then you look at what his dad's doing, pushing, the climate change movement and pushing money away from, oil and into green energy, for example. You're thinking to yourself, that is a clear conflict of interest there. And you're basically capitalizing on, already knowing the steps that are going to come, and betting the house on, this company's going to go up. I know it's going to go up because I'm making fucking damn sure of it. And people give, Donald Trump grief for being a millionaire politician, but he was a millionaire who became a politician. Joe Biden was a politician who became a millionaire. That should not be possible. Not if you're serving your country and doing everything you're supposed to do on the very decent wages they get paid, but nothing like the millions that family has amassed. And you imagine that Hunter Biden putting himself in this position, it's no wonder that he went off the deep end and started shagging hookers and fucking smoking all this crack. I mean, he was probably under a lot of pressure. And his dad, might not have even given a fuck that he was going to be the fall guy, or he might have known the whole time, you know what? I'm going to pardon him anyway, so who cares? As it happened, because of the laptop, they obviously knew Hunter Biden was hooked on drugs when he bought a gun, which is a crime in America. That was one of the things they got him on. But as usual, because of who his old man is, everything bounces off him. It's unbelievable. And here are some of the things that Joe Biden said in order to discredit these allegations.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
A Russian plant, this laptop, when Hunter Biden was literally shagging bitches with his dick out on there, but it was a Russian plant. And by the way, those 50 plus intelligence agents who said that this was a Russian plant, Donald Trump is now revoking their security clearance because they're clearly not trustworthy. You fucking pigs. You want lies with that? That is quality, that. The New York Post even did a front page on it where the spies who lie, intel experts who falsely discredit Hunter Biden's laptop, and still they won't say sorry. Of course they won't. You never get that from these kind of pricks.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
This man doesn't give a flying fuck if he speaks the truth.
Still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said?
Yes.
Look at him walking away, just dismissing the question. That's the contempt he has for the American people summed up in one clip. He doesn't give a shit what they think of him. This is all about him accruing power and money for his family.
It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
And they did that right on the eve of the last election. Now, that election is as fishy as it gets anyway, but the way that story, which would have reflected very badly on Joe Biden, being that the guy can't even raise his own son properly, let alone fucking run a country, and yet they suppress that unbelievably in the media. And this is the same media that told you that he wouldn't pardon his family.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He said it. It must be true. That's how it works. He's president. He wouldn't lie.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
What a guy. What a guy. Like, on the one hand, don't get me wrong, if your son's in a bad spot and you've got the ability to save him, you would. But your son's in a bad spot, allegedly, because of things he's been doing for your corrupt organization. It just stinks, man.
It takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system.
Oh, you just gotta love it. You gotta love it. These fuckers, man, they've got no shame. They've been made absolute mugs of, these people. Every last one of them.
The President of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, what... Yeah. You know, again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus
right.
Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty. And Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son. He would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there?
I could watch more of this. There's a lot more. There's a lot more of this. But point made, yeah? The media don't give a fuck either. They don't give a shit. They lie to their people's faces every fucking day. They do not care. And this is why people have switched off. This is why their propaganda machine in the last election did not work, because we know they lie about everything. Another guy who's going to get a preemptive pardon, just in case, you know, don't want anything bad to happen to him, do it? Just by chance, it might happen, might not. You know, whatever. It's Fauci, the guy who was in charge of the jab that you were forced to take in any way they possibly could pressure you to take it. They lied about how well it worked. They lied about how safe it was. Every step of the way, Fauci lied. And the impact that will be felt by this, we literally will never know. How many lives might have been lost, the consequences of the lockdowns. I mean, the billions of dollars, the hundreds of thousands of deaths, who fucking knows? But this man has been given a pardon. I think he makes Harold Shipman, that's the doctor in the UK who killed all those old women, by the way, look like a fucking saint.
If you're vaccinated, you really don't need to worry about getting it in a way that's serious or transmitting it.
That is true. That is correct, Chris. It'll either protect you completely against infection, and the chances are very likely that you'll not be able to transmit it to other people. The risk is extremely low of transmitting it to anybody else. Full stop.
Vaccinated people are clearly capable of transmitting the infection.
I love this.
When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better.
If people are not wearing masks, then maybe we should be mandating it.
I often myself wear 2 masks.
Masks work at the margins, maybe 10%. To hear that they only work at the margins, maybe 10%, would make a lot of people ask, okay, then why was I wearing a mask?
You're really attacking not only Dr. Anthony Fauci, you're attacking science. When you say that this is going to go away tomorrow like magic, when you know that there's no chance it's going to just disappear. We hope this just goes away. And the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down. First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. I recommended to the president that we shut the country down.
This guy doesn't give a fuck, mate. I'm not a perfect person, neither is any of us, right? But the lack of fucks given for your fellow man is so heartless, man. It's written all over his face as well. Look at him. He's a fucking horrible looking creep. And when you look at the legacy of Biden's presidency, not only just the way he's going out like this, but like when they pulled out of Afghanistan and loads of people died, and he signed like an Inflation Reduction Act, which was supposed to make it better. It made it worse. Immigration. I mean, he took apparently a whole hundreds of executive actions in the first year alone to just break the border wide open. 10 million people came through from him. You're not looking after your country at all. You don't give a fuck, mate. And he was really bad with offshore energy as well, by the looks of it, which is why gas prices go up, everything goes up when you do that. Like, just illogical. But part of me wonders how much of it was actually Joe Biden in reality, right? How much of a puppet was this man? Because a new story has just come out about him barely remembering signing things off.
Real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, you know, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, you know. And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, like, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? Like, I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
That is mental. And sadly not surprising, right? It makes sense. I half expected it. Donald Trump has started his presidency with a pretty serious statement about what he's going to do next.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Have you been getting a load of spam in your email recently? Or what about those calls when some random gives you a ring? Some call center where you can barely fucking hear them. It's annoying. Yeah, there's some shady guys out there called data brokers, and their job is literally to get your personal information. Your name, your email, your address, your political affiliation, the lot. And what they then do is they take it all and sell it all onto marketing agencies, which is why you're now getting bombarded with all this shit. And they've actually gone full Black Mirror now, where they're using like AI voices to try and get people, poor unsuspecting people, to hand over their cash. And this is where you hear about people getting huge loans taken out in their name without even knowing about it. This is how it happens. But luckily, this is where today's sponsor can be of help. You see, Incogni will reach out to these data brokers and ensure that your data is removed from their database. And because data brokers are always scouring the internet for your personal information, Incogni will continue policing it and making sure that your data does not appear online. All you've got to do is click the link in the description below, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. You then grant Incogni the right to work on your behalf, then you relax, and they will consistently update you as your data is removed. And the beauty of it is risk-free, because you can do a 30-day trial, and if it's not for you, they will give you a free refund. So click the link in the description below now and use my code Geordie to get 60% off your annual plan. And when Trump was actually giving his inauguration speech, Biden and Kamala are not far away from him. And he has no problem just literally tearing their whole organization to shreds.
For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment
has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people.
It really is a disgrace when you just lay it out. This ain't propaganda from him. This is all fucking true. It's embarrassing, man. They should be ashamed of themselves sat there in that room right now.
Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen.
Look at Joe and Kamala just sat there. What's mad about Biden is I don't actually feel like he takes any of this personal. It's just a game to him. It's a game that he's already won at because he's got the money he wanted, he's got the life he wanted, and he's been president now. He doesn't even seem hurt by what Trump is saying. He's just so at peace with it. And he should be. He should have some pride in what his legacy is, which lays in tatters right now.
I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
That basically means anyone who's trying to cross the border illegally can be targeted by the US military with lethal force, which is immediately going to be a game changer for how many people they're just letting in there.
To restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government, my administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
That's the Elon Musk Doge thing where he's going to basically do what he did to Twitter, where he sacked God knows how many people because he realized there's a lot of hangers on, there's a lot of fucking work-shy pricks there, and we're going to keep the people who actually do stuff, and we're going to get rid of the freeloading bastards. What made me laugh is Elon's first tweet about this was that the Diversity Officers Executive Council, which obviously is about DEI hiring and all of that bollocks, no longer exists. So it's started.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Can you believe he has to do that? Freedom of speech is, I think it's in the Constitution. The fact that this man has to reinstate it is mental alone. And this is what I'm particularly excited about because I have had numerous issues on social media. My Instagram is shadow banned without a fucking doubt because of posts I've made on there with conspiracy theories, and I've had people like David Icke on, and that doesn't go down well because he's banned from everything. And I've had multiple YouTube videos deleted based on misinformation. I had a 3.5 million view video about the Trump shooting where we went through all of the possible theories and who might be responsible. Deleted. No explanation, no nothing. And I hope now that we get a little bit more power in people online because that is sorely needed. Look at them. Look at them. They're not standing up. He's reinstating free speech and they're staying sitting. I love it. I love it because they wanted to take it away from us all. Oh, misinformation. Misinformation is a government term in order to control what they want to be allowed as information. It's bullshit and it's censorship. I fucking hate those pricks for what they did. It's been a disgrace. And I noticed Zuckerberg from Facebook changing his tune now, acting like, well, it was all the American politicians putting pressure on us. Dude, he deleted so many good videos, good posts with real scientific information because it didn't match up to what the government said. This is one of the best signs that Donald Trump may not be a perfect man. He's certainly made mistakes and there's things he's done and said that I don't agree with, but he's better than those fuckers. Is the only point I've ever made about Donald Trump. People think I'm the grift. The grift. Do you think I'm trying to make a fucking run into politics or something? I just find this shit interesting. There's no benefit to me of doing any of that. I'm not getting more money out of this. There's no conservative sponsors knocking on my door, let me tell you. But he's better than them. That's it. That's all I've said. Because anyone who wants to take away free speech, it's because they're up to something that they don't want anyone pointing out, in my opinion. And that was them from the fucking get-go.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about.
He's fucking nailed them there, by the way.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life.
That means DEI is over. Even the big corporations in America are doing away with their DEI departments, so now people are going to be employed, as they always should have been, on merit.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
What was the other one? When you've got a government in power who can't even define what is a woman, that was when everyone should have been aware. This is crazy. And by the way, I've got no problem with people living how they want to live and calling themselves what they want to call themselves. No one should have the power to force other people to speak about things in a way that's not scientific. It's not just ridiculous, it's actually insane making people do that. And it's funny because a lot of the people who are really pushing this on their social media, they're removing from their bios the, she, her and all of that. They're removing it now. So even they're off the bandwagon, which shows it was nothing more than a performance to make you look like, oh, look at me, I'm so woke, I'm such a good person. You didn't give a shit. It's all about how it made you look. Virtue signaling pricks.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
As they fucking should be. The fact that that was removed from these people and the gun was put to their head in so many different walks of life, by the way, not just soldiers. And it's so ironic that they called Donald Trump the threat to democracy, the next Adolf Hitler, when that was all the things that they did. I don't know about you, but I can't quite imagine Adolf Hitler dancing to YMCA. He's not what they made him out to be. He's not perfect, but through his actions, he is reinstating more freedoms for people. And things like removing men from the jails of women. My God, how on earth did we get that far? Where women are at risk in jails from men going in there, dressed as women. Fuck me. And he has some proof that Donald Trump has already taken action. The police have shut down the port of entry in El Paso. And it's already underway. And Big Donald ended the day with a dance with his lovely wife. She's a smoke show, by the way. She is easily the hottest first president, lady, whatever you want to call her. She is the hottest of them all. She scrubs up well, this girl. Don't get me wrong, she's not the warmest woman. I've got to be honest. But she's a lovely bit of eye candy for the old guy. Fair play to him. And do you know what I like about her more than anything? She's not the most outspoken. She knows what her role is, and she does her fucking job very well, which is make her man look like the most powerful man in the world. What a woman. That dress is lovely on her, by the way. Gotta say, gorgeous. So that was the end of the Joe Biden presidency. I guess all that's left to say now is, what is left to say?
That's all, folks.
That senile old twat bag. Honestly, I can't believe he got away with all of that shit. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below. What do you think of the changes that Donald Trump is making? If you're offended by them, let me know why, because I'm here for debate. You have your opinion, I have mine, and I appreciate that. My opinion isn't going to be everything you lot agree with, and that's fine. That's good. Debate is good. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the True Geordie YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the next one.